Go.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about your background.
Okay.
Have you always lived in Marlboro?
Yes.
Okay. Did you live in this house as a child?
No, we didn't build this house until in the early 1960s. I used to live next door where Jerry Lundstedt lives now when I was growing up in school.
So, how long have you lived here?
Well, from 1960 and it's 2005, so that makes how many years? Test your math.
35 years?
How much?
45?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask you some work-related questions?
Sure.
Okay. How would you describe yourself when you were a child?
Well, hard to say. Of course, back when we were children, we didn't have television or the modern conveniences that they have today. We played outside a lot as children. You know, we went sledding. That was on weekends, or we'd get on our skis. And of course, we didn't have ski lifts so much. We had to make our own trails. But we did a lot of outside activities. And school was different. There was only 3 in my graduating class.
Wow, that's a little.
Yeah, small class.
Yeah, pretty small. May I ask you how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 67.
Okay. For what years were you the postmistress in Marlboro?
Okay, in Marlboro, I was there for 15 years. Prior to that, I worked in, I was an acting postmaster in Marlboro for 4 years prior, but that wasn't counted as my retirement, so I guess you could call it 19 years actually altogether in Marlboro.
Okay. Anywhere else?
Yeah, then I worked in Brattleboro as a substitute rural carrier and downtown in the main office. And then I worked in Wilmington for 10 years.
Who had the job before you?
Who had the job before me? Well, Bertha Bacon was the postmaster before me. And prior to that, there was Winch Warnock. And then Ing Lorenz. That's as far back as I remember.
Had that person held the job for a long time?
Quite a while. I don't remember exactly how many years, but yeah, she was there for at least 10 years, I would say.
Yeah. Who took over after you retired?
Cheryl Corey took over after I was retired, and she has since gone up to Wardsboro, and now Marshall is there. I'm not sure what his last name is. Stevens, I think it is.
How did you learn about how to run the post office?
Well, basically, they threw me in there because they needed somebody in a hurry as acting postmaster, and through the years I took different courses and stuff, so that's I worked my way up through the channels.
Yeah. How would you describe your job?
I enjoyed it very much. It was a challenge, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the people.
Yeah. Have you had any other jobs than your work at the post office?
While I was at the post office, or since the post office? Since I retired?
And before it. Maybe.
Before that, oh yeah, I worked, well, in my high school days, I worked up at Hogjack and at Skyline Restaurant. And I have been auditor for the town a couple of different times. And that's about it. Most of my time was at the post office, most of my career.
What caused you to want to stop them?
I put in enough years and the hassle. I mean, it was getting to be very modernized and changing constantly, and I said, enough is enough.
Yeah. What were some of the jobs you had within the postal system before you became postmaster here in town?
Okay. All right. As I said, I was a rural carrier, or a substitute rural carrier.
Mm-hmm.
I did this route out here, Route 4, for one whole summer while they were trying to find somebody to do it permanently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was substituting in Brattleboro, especially at Christmas time, a lot. And that was basically it.
Yeah. Why did you want to become involved with the post office in the first place?
Well, I'd had a taste of it in '64 through '68 when I was acting postmaster, and I liked the work, and so I pursued it further.
What are some of the reasons why you continued to stay involved for as long as you did?
Well, basically, as I say, I liked the work, I liked the people.
How would you say work in the post office has changed since your retirement?
Oh, there's been enormous changes. Everything is now computerized and modernized, and before everything was done by hand, basically.
Yeah.
So it's altogether different.
Yeah. Would you say the changes are an improvement or not, and why?
Some yes and some not so. I think the personal touch and the personal contact that you have in a small office is much better.
Yeah. Would you describe what the main activities of your job were?
Okay, basically everybody thinks that when you're a postmaster all you do is sort mail. Well, that's not true. There's so much other paperwork, a lot of paperwork involved, and a lot of reports to submit, and that is the behind the scenes that the people don't realize that you have to do.
Yeah. What people or experiences would you say have influenced you in your work, and in what ways have they influenced you?
Okay, I think probably the most influence I got was working in Wilmington with Chanley May. He was a terrific postmaster, and that was a really, really busy office, and you had to learn every aspect. They had a lot of second-class mailings, they had everything you could imagine, and there is where I really learned my everything, really. But he was a great postmaster, and I learned a great deal from him. And we had some good times, a lot of good laughs.
Does he still live in town, or in Wilmington?
No, he's since deceased, so he's long gone, but he was a postmaster in Wilmington for a long time.
Oh, yeah. In your opinion, what are some of the difficulties that the postal system faces today?
Well, of course they got a lot more competition now that email and you got several other postal carriers like the UPS and FedEx and all those, so the competition is out there. So they've got to compete with these other people to keep above. But still, I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah. Would you please describe a typical day from when you arrived at work until you left?
Okay, well, I'd go to work. We opened at 8, but I'd always be there early because you have to get your money drawer out and everything. And then basically what you did first is sort all the mail to get it into the boxes so other people could pick it up as early as possible. And then after that, if there was mail that came for somebody that wasn't there that you had to forward, you would forward all your mail that needed to be forwarded. And then you would work on reports and your daily financial from the day before. You had to report every day how much money you took in and record it in a book. And then in the afternoon you'd get another batch of mail which had to be sorted, and in between you'd work on different reports and read all the mail that's come in for you as the postmaster, which is lots of updates and things.
Yeah. What do you feel were the more important parts of your job?
I think just being communicative with the people in the community and making them feel that you were there to help them.
Yeah. In what ways does your job benefit others?
Well, they got their mail, and it's a social place for a small town. The people would always, if they wanted to communicate, they'd meet at the post office. It's just a good place to gather with with friends and catch up on the daily news.
Yeah. What were some of the parts of your job you really liked?
As I say, meeting the people and talking to the people, that's the best part.
What were the parts you disliked?
When the computer didn't work. That would really frustrate me.
Yeah. That happens a lot at school.
That was one of the reasons, when it was time to retire, and that would get so frustrating, and you had a deadline for a report or something and things weren't going well, then I would get really uptight, and I said, I don't need this hassle anymore.
Yeah. What are some of the ways the job has changed over time?
As I say, it's been modernized considerably, and as I understand, there's still report after report, and they're cutting hours because they don't have the extra money to spend, and so making the workload that much more for the individual that is doing the job.
Yeah. What do you see as the future of the post office in Marlboro?
Well, it'll continue to grow because Marlboro is growing.
Yeah.
It has every year since I started, and I'm sure it has since I left.
Is there anything else about your life or work that you'd like to mention, but that I haven't asked about?
Not really. I guess I covered it pretty much.
So you were a postmistress for 19 years?
Actually, yes. If you call acting postmaster as well as I was more than that, because I was altogether when I retired, I had 30 years in, and they counted my other jobs as well. So, but I was 10 years in Wilmington and 15 the latter in Marlboro. So that's 25 and 4, so 29 years as a postmaster.
Wow.
Actually.
That's a lot.
Basically. Yep.
Are the people you mentioned still working as postmaster or postmistress?
Well, not all of them, no. Basically, anybody that was working when I was is retired, same as I have.
Do you go to the post office?
Every day, get my mail.
Yeah.
So I keep in contact with them.
Yeah. I know a person who works at the post office.
Do you?
Yeah, Patty Webster.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's our
Well, she worked with me. She was my assistant when
She
I
was?
Yeah, Patty was
Wow.
my assistant when I was there. So she's been in the post office quite a while.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.